Okay, well, I appreciate that I've given CBT a bit of a tough time in those last couple of videos, but let's not write it off yet, because it still does have many positive attributes. I'm not disputing that. And if it does provide a comprehensive overview of the mind, it might be able to mitigate some of those downsides. But unfortunately, I believe it doesn't. Because CBT, which for me is a glaring omission from the model, completely ignores the unconscious mind, or sometimes referred to as the subconscious mind. We've already explained the reasons why this hugely reduces CBT's ability to effectively deal with and resolve emotional challenges. But as a quick recap, let's integrate some of our learnings together from previous videos. So, neuroception is the name for the process whereby your brain is scanning your environment for signs of danger at speeds up to 10 times faster than you can become consciously aware of your environment. So when one of those triggers are activated, so when the emotional memory image is activated, the physiological response in your body is already in full flow before you can think. So relating it back to the overthinking pattern, one of the reasons you might be doing that is because adrenaline and cortisol are flooding through your system, causing your brain activity to speed up because a threat has been detected. Trying to think your way out of that mix of hormones and neurotransmitters is a losing battle 99 times out of 100. Past experiences are stored subconsciously or through the amygdala and hippocampus, and therefore you might not even know the cause of the reaction you're having. Often all you can do is make a best guess, which often ends up being a bit of a red herring and actually further detracts you from resolving the problem. The conscious mind is full of cognitive biases, and approximately 190 of them, which are emotional shortcuts that leads to systematic errors in your thinking. And whereas if we think about the classic iceberg example, the conscious mind has a general working memory capacity of 7 plus or minus 2 items, whereas your unconscious mind has access to a vast storehouse of data and information and runs all of your bodily processes. So, trying to use a limited capacity, heavily biased conscious mind that only has an understanding of what's going on and usually is only capable of responding after a threat response has been triggered, to try and resolve a largely automatic, reflexive, incredibly fast, and evolutionary primed for safety set of neurochemical processes is doomed to failure. Need I say more? But let's use an example. Let's bring Susie back again. When Susie was younger, she had a painful experience at the cinema. Some years later, when she plans on going to the cinema with a friend who she feels totally safe with, and in a venue where she is familiar and knowledgeable about, she still experiences strong and pronounced sensations in her chest, her heart rate increases, and she starts to feel a bit panicky. Susie recognizes these thoughts, understands where they come from, and understands that there is no longer a threat at the cinema, and she can even, with time, continue to talk to herself through her somatic symptoms until eventually they start to subside and she starts to feel calmer again. And despite a mini flare-up on the day of the cinema trip, some general anxiety while in the main entrance, and an awareness of a slight increase in heart rate during the early moments of the screening, Susie can still enjoy the movie and by the end comes out and has thoroughly enjoyed her cinema experience. Through CBT and talking therapy perspectives, this would be considered a success. She used her understanding to apply cognitive principles to influence her emotions and even gradually resolved her physical sensations. And she was able to enjoy the experience. But from my perspective, to have to go through that arduous battle, and it is a battle, every single time you want to do something you enjoy because unconsciously your nervous system is still feeling threatened, it just seems like such an ineffective way to manage the issue. Whereas, in more practical terms, if we could engage with the subconscious mind, identify the root cause of the symptom, and resolve the emotional charge, the physical symptoms would dissipate and resolve, and she could go forward and enjoy every cinema experience, the whole experience, just like other people. And most importantly, she could be present in the moment and enjoy what's important to her. And that's why in the previous slide I talked about ignoring the unconscious mind at your peril, because that's a huge resource that goes untapped in talking therapies as it stands at the moment.